In the sweltering summer of 1954, music was about to take an explosive turn. Few could have predicted that two seemingly unrelated records would ignite a cultural revolution. One was Rock Around the Clock by Bill Haley and His Comets, a song that would become the anthem of rock and roll, even though it initially flopped. The other was a simple, unassuming tune called That's All Right, Mama by Elvis Presley, recorded in a small studio in Memphis, Tennessee. These songs, born within weeks of each other, would change the face of music forever. Bill Haley, a quirky figure in his poodle suits, had been recording since 1947. Starting as a country band playing Western swing, they caught the attention of the music world with their unique take on Rock at 88. However, their big break came with Rock Around the Clock. Recorded on April 12, 1954 at the Pythian Temple Studio in New York, this song was initially met with indifference. It borrowed heavily from Hank Williams' Move It On Over, and even failed to gain traction when released by the Essex label. It wasn't until it landed on the US Decca label that the magic happened, but even then, it was dismissed as a novelty foxtrot. Little did anyone know, this song was about to become the clarion call for a new era in music. Meanwhile, in Memphis, Elvis Presley was just starting his journey. On July 5, 1954, at Sun Studio, Elvis, Scotty Moore on guitar, and Bill Black on double bass came together to create something unprecedented. They started with ballads, but nothing seemed to click. It was when they stumbled upon That's All Right, Mama, a song by Arthur Big Boy Crudup, that everything changed. Elvis' high-pitched voice and rhythmic delivery combined with Scotty's jazzy chords and Bill's double bass created a magic that Sam Phillips, the owner of Sun Records, instantly recognized. The recording was raw with just 3 instruments, an electric guitar, an acoustic guitar, and a double bass. But it was the slapback echo, an effect created by playing the music back with a slight delay, that truly set it apart. Elvis' version of That's All Right, Mama was a far cry from the original, with lyrics tweaked to speak of a girlfriend instead of a mother. But it was this very reinterpretation that made the song resonate with a new generation. Sam Phillips knew he had something special. He urged Elvis to return the next day to record more. The result was 2 sides of a record that would go on to change the world. Blue Moon of Kentucky, a fast-paced take on Bill Monroe's waltz, showcased Elvis' ability to adapt and innovate. Monroe, the father of bluegrass, had initially written Blue Moon of Kentucky in 1946, but Elvis' version was a pop sensation. The impact of these recordings cannot be overstated. Rock Around the Clock and That's All Right, Mama were the soundtracks of a revolution. They bridged the gap between country, blues, and rhythm and blues, creating a new sound that captured the energy and restlessness of a generation. The slapback echo became a hallmark of rock music, influencing countless artists from the Beatles to the Rolling Stones. In the end, it was not just the music that was revolutionary, but the way it was made. In a small studio with minimal equipment and a lot of talent, 3 musicians created something that would echo through the decades. As Elvis later said, those old Sun Records songs sound funny due to the echo effect, but it was that very quirk that added to their charm and legacy. The summer of 1954 may have started with 2 unassuming records, but it marked the beginning of a new era in music, one that would never be the same again. In the early days of Elvis Presley's career, figuring out where his music fit was like trying to fit a square peg in a round hole. His first big break came when Dewey Phillips, a young radio host in Memphis, listened to Elvis's song and was blown away. He played it on the air that very same evening. This made lots of people curious about the new voice they could hear at home. They called into the station, asking when they could buy the record. Dewey played it again and again, even asking Elvis to come on his show. Elvis's dad, Vernon, found him and introduced him to Dewey. Elvis signed his first autograph right there, on Dewey's acetate. Elvis's first live performance was at a small Memphis club called the Bon Air. He was a guest with another musician, Doug Poindexter, and his band, the Starlight Wranglers. Elvis's music was catching people's attention, not just in Memphis but across the country. People wanted to know when they could get his record. Even though Sam Phillips, Elvis's producer, had connections that could help spread Elvis's music further, he focused more on black artists at first. This meant Elvis's single didn't get the wide distribution it could have had. It sold well locally and reached number 4 on Memphis chart, but it didn't make the bigger US country or pop charts. This was partly because the people who decided which charts a song went on didn't see Elvis's music as fitting neatly into one category. Back then, music was often divided by race, with black music and white music kept separate. This division was shown in how Elvis's music was categorized. Nat King Cole once said, "Madison Avenue is afraid of the dark," highlighting how some in the industry were hesitant about music crossing racial lines. But what genre was Elvis? Some said his music was a mix of pop, R&B, and country. B.B. King, a legendary blues musician, said Elvis sounded country to him, not black. Rufus Thomas, a black DJ, initially didn't see Elvis's potential, thinking he was a white singer trying to sing black music. However, after Elvis's music gained traction, Rufus began playing his records, realizing the power of Elvis's sound. As Elvis's fame grew, he started performing at bigger venues. One such event was at the Overton Park Shell in Memphis, where he shared the stage with Slim Whitman, a popular country singer. Slim was impressed by Elvis's unique style and energy. Billy Walker, another country performer, was also on the bill and noticed Elvis's nervous energy, which he channeled into his performance. This show marked a turning point. Horace Logan, a DJ at the Louisiana Hayride, was so impressed that he signed Elvis to his show, launching his national career. Behind the scenes, there were some complications. Elvis, Scotty Moore, and Bill Black, his bandmates, realized they weren't officially part of a musicians' union. They joined just in time for their first big gig. They also had a shaky financial setup, with Scotty and Bill getting session fees while Elvis was entitled to royalties on record sales. This meant Elvis had to rely on stage performances to make more money. During this time, Elvis returned to the Sun Studios to record more music. One of the tracks was a cover of Blue Moon, a song originally made famous by Bing Crosby. Elvis's take on it was unique and atmospheric, showcasing his ability to put his own spin on familiar tunes. Another session produced songs like Tomorrow Night, a slow ballad, and Just Because, which showed off Elvis's fun and energetic side. He even attempted a polka-style version of Satisfied, a song with gospel roots. Some of these recordings were released years later, giving fans a glimpse into Elvis's early creative explorations. As Elvis continued to perform and record, his music remained a puzzle to categorize. It blended elements of country, R&B, and pop, making it hard to fit into one box. This mix of styles would become a hallmark of his career, appealing to a wide audience. Despite the challenges, Elvis's talent and charisma shone through, setting him on the path to becoming one of the most iconic figures in music history. Elvis Presley, a singer from New Orleans, became famous after performing with Wynonie Harris's band. Wynonie was so impressed that he recorded his own version of Good Rockin' Tonight. This song became super popular, even more so when Elvis recorded it in 1952. The song became a rock and roll classic, simpler and more energetic than when Pat Boone or even Elvis himself sang it later. Elvis loved other popular singers like Dean Martin, Johnny Ray, and Dinah Shore. These singers were friends and they respected each other. They never tried to push each other out of the spotlight. This was very different from punk rockers later, who often disliked popular singers. Dean Martin influenced Elvis's music, especially his ballads. Dean was known for his smooth singing style, which Elvis adopted in songs like Powder Your Face with Sunshine. Elvis even changed some songs to fit his own style, like turning I Don't Care If the Sun Don't Shine into something cheerful for a movie. In 1954, Elvis played many small shows to build his fans. However, things took a turn when he got a chance to perform on the Grand Ole Opry, a big country music show. At first, some country musicians like Bill Monroe weren't impressed. But Elvis kept performing, and his style slowly won over the audience. Elvis's big break didn't come from the Opry, though. It was on another show, Ernest Tubbs' Midnight Jamboree. Here he met DJ Dominic Fontana, who played drums for the show. DJ remembered Elvis as a young man with a unique style, which slowly started to attract younger fans. By October 16, 1954, Elvis's performance on the Louisiana Hayride show marked a turning point. His unique look and charisma started to change the crowd, drawing in younger listeners. He began doing commercials on the show, singing about Southern-made donuts, a simple jingle that showcased his growing popularity. Elvis's journey from a local singer to a national sensation wasn't easy. He faced challenges like being ostracized by his manager over a lawsuit and struggled with cash flow as record sales were slow at times. However, Sam Phillips, his producer, focused on Elvis because he saw big potential in breaking into the white music market. Through it all, Elvis kept his roots and stayed true to himself. He learned from other artists, adapted their styles, and created something new and exciting. His story is about perseverance, creativity, and the power of music to change and unite people. Elvis's impact on music is huge, and his spirit of rock and roll continues to inspire musicians to this day.